The Dog and Pony Show. State Democrats' hollow acts on workers and immigrants writes Washington state Democrats parade their symbolic state-level reforms, but their failure to call out federal lawmakers lays bare the truth. Their advocacy is a smokescreen masking real complicity. State bills like House Bill 1232, promising oversight of detention centers, are meaningless when federal policies, ignored by these same lawmakers, drive the suffering they claim to fight. The illusion of reform. How does House Bill 1232 help the boys sent to Guantanamo Bay from Washington state? It doesn't. State-level efforts are powerless without confronting federal laws that fuel these atrocities. Yet, state leaders like Ortiz-Self remain silent about federal betrayals that enable private detention profiteering and crush immigrant rights. Silence on federal sellouts while state lawmakers posture. Federal Democrats, like Rick Larson and Patty Murray, support disastrous laws like the Laken Riley Act, pouring billions into detention centers and stripping away workers' and immigrants' rights. Where is the outrage from state leaders? Their silence betrays their allegiance to the party line over the people they claim to represent. Ignored real solutions state-level fixes are a distraction. The real solutions, passing the American Families United Act for immigrant families, and establishing a National Workers' Compensation Commission, are federal. Yet, state Democrats refuse to pressure their federal counterparts, letting injustice persist. The path to accountability: no more performances, no more empty speeches. State Democrats must confront federal lawmakers who sell out workers and immigrants. Without real federal accountability, their state-level posturing is nothing but a hollow act in America's ongoing dog and pony show.
We want to make sure that facilities, whether funded by the state or privately funded, keep some basic humane standards. We have heard the abuse that continues. We have heard hunger strikes that continue out of desperation. We have heard the cries of many. And it's really very simple. You do business in the state of Washington, you should uphold some basic human standards. This is a standard for any facility in the state of Washington. The ones that do not have any inspections are the ones we are talking about. We want to make sure that eyes are kept, that we as the state of Washington can say that regardless of where you find yourself, regardless what your circumstance, regardless of what is happening, we will uphold basic human standards.
My name is Sela. I'm here to speak today on behalf of my father, not only here as his daughter, but as someone who wants to ensure that no one else must endure what he did. During the month he was in the Tacoma Detention Center, my father was subjected to cruel and inhumane treatment. He was denied sufficient food for days and had no regular access to clean clothing or proper hygiene facilities, which should be basic rights for anyone, especially those who are detained. More than the physical deprivation, my father witnessed someone hang themselves due to desperation. I was scared my dad would fall into the same steps. He was isolated and cut off from any support. Being cut off from loved ones during such a traumatic time is cruel, and it's imperative that detainees maintain connection with their families. This bill's proposal for unannounced inspections is essential to prevent these conditions from happening. If there had been stronger oversight, my father's conditions could have been improved. Some detainees, like my father, are held for extended periods without even being convicted of a crime. Many have yet to go through a court of law. My dad met someone who had been detained for 4 years without a conviction or a chance for a fair hearing. This is not only unjust, but a violation of fundamental rights. My father's experience could have been prevented with stronger safeguards in place. I urge you to pass HB 1232 so that no one else has to go through what my family experienced.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ashley Ramirez, and I'm currently a student in the Tacoma area. For students like myself who come from a mixed status family, I am very concerned about the current conditions of Tacoma's Northwest Detention Center and the proximity of this facility to my campus. With what's going on federally right now, my concerns, along with those of my family members, are in the what ifs. What if one of my family members is detained? What if I'm unable to contact them? What if they are sick and not properly taken care of. As a student who has personally had a family member held in a detention facility, I know firsthand the feeling of uneasiness, being unable to contact them, and worrying throughout the day if others in my family will be next. As students, we shall not have to worry about if a family member is being properly taken care of and has their basic needs met in a detention facility. Detaining people based not on if they've been convicted of a crime is inhumane. Ensuring detainees are treated humanely is the least we can do. I urge you to support House Bill 1232 and take accountability of what is currently happening in the Northwest Detention Center. Thank you.
My name is Michelle Carrillo, and I am here as a first-generation student with a mixed status family here in the Olympia area. Words cannot describe the feeling that children of mixed status families have to go through every single day. Every day is the possibility of coming home and not finding your parents. The least we can do is ensure that our Washingtonians are safe and treated like human beings. These taxpayers are being treated like criminals. As you heard my friends' stories, their family members have gone through abuse and neglect. This detention center is a private business, and if they want to be a private business, they should adhere to the same standards of labor and treatment. Secrecy is only for people who have something to hide. I urge this committee to support House Bill 1232. Thank you.
Rebuttal to state lawmakers. Stop the political theater. Call out federal failures. I share deep empathy for the pain these children and families endure, and I find it shameful that state lawmakers exploit their suffering for political theater. While they push symbolic state-level reforms, they refuse to confront the real culprits, federal lawmakers from their own party who created and sustained these injustices. How will House Bill 1232 help the boys sent to Guantanamo Bay from Washington state? It won't. State-level measures mean nothing without confronting federal policies driving these atrocities. Yet, leaders like Ortiz-Self remain silent about federal Democrats' complicity, refusing to call out lawmakers like Rick Larson and Patty Murray, who voted for the Laken Riley Act and its internment camps. This is not about humane standards. It's about accountability. State Democrats push bills that shield them from confronting the federal betrayal that harms both workers and immigrants. Where are their demands for a National Workers' Compensation Commission or support for the American Families United Act? Absent, because the truth is, they'd rather use immigrants as props than challenge federal lawmakers on the policies breaking America. Enough performances. If state leaders truly care, they must call out their federal colleagues who voted against immigrant and worker rights. Anything less is just another act in a cruel dog and pony show.